That's not good, guys. Something exploded. No wonder we got issues. So if you're here because your locker light is flashing like this right here, and you have the error messages in the dash like the locker's trying to connect, that's the issue I thought I had. So I'm going to kind of run you through how to fix that. Jeep did come out with this TSB. There's a part number right here, this 685444629AA. That sensor kit is per axle. You buy that sensor kit from Jeep, and it comes with 5 sensors for your rear diff. 9 times out of 10, it's sensor number 1. That's the most common one. But what you do is with the different, you got to open up the diff. Just, take the cover off, and you're going to need fluid, obviously, to put back in it or reuse it. You're going to open that up. Put the sensors in one at a time. So it only takes one sensor. So you put sensor 1 in, turn the ignition key on, see if everything clears out. If it clears out, you're good. If not, go to sensor 2. By the time you're done with sensor 5, it's going to be 1 through 5, one or the other. Anyway, I thought that's what I was going to do with this, and obviously mine turned into a bigger problem because the sensor was, gone, destroyed. But anyway, the problem lies within these sensors. They do get hot, cold, and then when they get hot, it does suck in gear oil, and that causes the sensor to not work. The purpose of that sensor is to verify that the locker is engaged. So when you press the button, it applies the 12 volts to the locker solenoid. The locker solenoid does do a duty cycle. So if you apply directly 12 volts to it, you could damage it. The control module duty cycles to prevent it from overheating. That sensor that's on there tells the computer that, hey, it's at, your rear diff is physically locked. So the TAZOR bypass just bypasses that sensor, that signal. So there's this jumper that you can buy from the TAZOR company, and it just plugs in line, like plug and play. It clips in right at the differential, and it basically bypasses that. So when you hit the locker button, it shows it immediately engaged, immediately disengaged. The downside to that is you don't know if it's actually engaged. It could be applying voltage, but if there's a problem with the actual locker assembly, you don't know. You don't know that it's engaged, disengaged. What if it's stuck, engaged? Unless you're experienced with that kind of thing, where you can feel that your lockers are locked, the computer's not going to know. Anyway, I hope that makes things easier for you guys. I'm going to kind of dig into the deeper side of it, where I had to replace the actual diff locker magnet solenoid about 3 or 4 times, and this is kind of like a tech learning curve on it. Please give me a like and subscribe. These videos kind of, I'm a full-time wrench. These videos kind of take a lot out of me to make and edit these, so just giving me a comment, a like, subscribe really helps me out. All right, let's back up. The first weekend of April 2025, my buddy Justin and I went up to Georgia to go camping. Everything went fine that trip. 4 low, front and rear lockers, climbed some obstacles. But when we were leaving and I pulled out of the campsite, I heard a weird clunk from the rear differential. I knew I was in 4-wheel drive, and I knew I was crawling over some rocks getting out of there, so I assumed I bumped into something and kind of dragged it. I didn't think anything of it. Car drove fine. 3-hour ride home from Georgia to South Carolina. But when I was about 20 minutes from the house, the rear locker light started flashing, and I got a service your diff warning on the lights, a couple lights on the dash. A quick Google search, I assumed the sensor went out on the rear differential. Common issue. I know that TAZOR made a bypass harness for that. More recently, Jeep came out with a sensor kit where you can plug in 5 different sensors to find the right gap for when the locker engages. So I knew there was a fix out for it. I'll put the TSB down below here. I ordered them up when I got back. they came in, and this is where kind of where the video picks off of. Over a year ago, and about 30,000 miles ago, I had my Jeep re-geared from the factory diesel 373 gears to 456 Danish Splicer gears. I know Rubicons typically come with better gearing, but if you have a diesel, all of them come with the same 373 gears in them, no matter if it's a Rubicon base sport or whatever. So we did re-gear it, and the whole 30,000 miles, we went to Florida, Moab, Montana, Colorado. 30,000 miles, no issues. Lockers always worked. No flashing lights, nothing. And I've probably changed the fluid 3 times in between since then. No metal coming out, nothing. And obviously this video now is the start of me taking the rear differential apart probably 3 to 4 times to finally get it right. Jeep had quality control issues with the magnet part that I purchased from the local Jeep dealership, and I put that one in, and then there was a small plastic spacer that is not in any of the service manual assembly instructions, all data, the factory service manual, even looking at a bunch of videos on YouTube, there's no assembly instructions for this plastic spacer, and when it's in the old one, it looks flush, like it's not even supposed to come out. So needless to say, we're in August now. The differential is running strong, lockers working as they should, but I did learn a lot, and I gained some valuable experience in how the locker systems work on the M220 axle. So this is us getting into it. So I'm pretty sure it's the rear locker, because that's the one that's flashing, and then down here I got the flashing rear locker only. So flashing rear locker down there, and then flashing rear locker here, and then that's the axle. But I'm just going to show you guys the codes that we have. DTCM, drivetrain control module. I have that code, C141C-13, rear differential control circuit open. So it is the rear diff. So obviously doing this type of work on a alignment lift allows for easier filling of fluids, because the differential is going to be level, so it's just easier for me. But I'm going to raise it up a little bit more. So what we're going to do is take this off, take the skid off, and take the cover off, drain the fluid, and then I'll show you the sensor on the inside. We're basically going to take that old one out, plug in the new one, turn the key on, make sure it clears. If it clears, we're good, and put it all back together and put new fluid in it. If you have a stock JL or Gladiator JT, and you don't have all this crap, it'll be a lot easier, because this is the AEV skid shield, the AEV diff cover. So if you didn't have this in the way, or the Hellwig rear sway bar to help with the heavy load, be a little bit easier. But keep that clean there. Got them. Let's get to the differential. Take that cover off, and then we'll start draining it. Oh no. This is not good, guys. Something exploded. No wonder we got issues. Oh man. That's a showstopper. All these bolts are loosening up. I did check the front differential, took the cover off, and rechecked all the torque specs. Everything was fine in the front differential.
All loose.
On the rear, I think what happened was the Loctite was either not put on, or it was either put on and then fluid was installed too quick, allowing the Loctite to dilute and not get that dry good seal.
All these bolts are loosening up.
Thank God there was no damage to the teeth or the pinion. So the carrier ring and the pinion were not damaged at all. The pattern, everything was still good too.
So it appears I tightened the rest of these bolts. One's broken off, and two, you can see where they were just, I guess, loose over time and just kind of wallered out. That's the broken off one. You can see where they just kind of backed out and mucked the threads up. But the ring gear, the gears look okay. Gears seem okay. And then I can see the pinion in there. I don't see any damage on the pinion either. The pinion gears and the main gears are okay. I think we're gonna need that and whatever locker magnet thing that broke off. Probably just clean out the housing is pretty good. So I'm not leaking anything.
The guy who did my gears gladly took it back, took it all apart, cleaned the axle tubes off, and installed the new $1,200 locker magnet.
Good. Shaft seals. Alright, rear axle's locked. Locker. Rear locked. Tire spinning. It's obviously not locked. Now I'm in two-wheel drive, but it should be locked. All right, guys, sorry I didn't record most of this, taking this apart, but it was extremely easy. I got it in and out. Oh, I'm sorry. I got it all torn apart in probably 40 minutes. It's not that hard. Just take the brakes off, undo the 4 bolts, take the sensor out, pop the axles out, and then pulled out the diff. It's in the parts washer now. I had 3 spacers on each side. We're gonna put those back in the correct order. We tested this magnet that was replaced 3 weeks ago. I bench tested it here now, and it's doing the same thing. It's not activating. The new one, we bench tested it, pops in and out, no worries there. I actually bought this clam type bearing puller tool, which is really easy to pop the bearings off of the carrier. The carrier is in the parts washer right now, just cleaning it up nice and pretty. We're gonna clean this up some and start putting it back together. I could probably drive this thing home. Probably torque it all down and get out of here in 2 hours. So again, this is a learning curve for me. Gotta make sure you have the fluids. A little bit of learning curve. I definitely learned doing something new, and makes you a little bit better prepared for if stuff breaks on the trail. So these nuts right here, you got to replace them when you reuse them. Same with the nuts that go around the cover. So yeah, other than that, let's get her back together. All right, guys, after testing and testing and testing, so when you engage your locker, even with the TAZOR bypass, that bypasses this stupid sensor and how that works, you magnetize. This is a big magnet. This magnetizes it and basically pushes this over and locks those fingers in there. And once those fingers are locked, locker's engaged. Anyway, if you're like me and broke this off, you got to get a new magnet. The magnets do not come with this plastic washer that goes in there and actually pushes against this plate. So my locker's not working with this new magnet, and the reason why is because it's missing this plate. So it's magnetically pushing, but it has nothing to push against, so it's not pushing that plate out. So here's what it looks like. This is what a new one looks like, and this basically sits on here like that, and the new one does not come with this. That is here's the original broken one, but this is the reason why. Anyway, I got to get a new bearing because I got to press out the bearing to get that off, but I could have that on the floor in like 20 minutes.
All right, for all you mechanics out there, pause this if you need to study these pictures, but these are a couple of the codes that I dealt with when dealing with the locker. This one, the C14 code, was when the locker failed. Here's a wiring diagram of the locker solenoids. This is where the DTCM resides, behind the back panel in the back of the Gladiator on the passenger side. There's also an issue with the ground. The ground for the DTCM is back there by that control module. Pin readings for the locker control solenoid at the differential, and then where it is on the DTCM, it's the center one. And on that center one, here's the pin fit out for that. Basically, the two outer pins, D and A, are for the power to the locker. And this is what the locker assembly looks like. That's how I press the bearing back on. So when you do press that bearing in and out, you just need that top bearing if you're replacing the locker magnet. Any other questions, reach out to me below in the comments. I'll get back to you. I'm pretty active with getting back to people really quick. If you have any questions, concerns, comments. Other than that, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Here's a quick link for Amazon for the clam bearing puller that I used. You're also going to need a slide hammer, any kind of generic slide hammer. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you like this type of video, please think about joining my Patreon page for about $4 a month. I'll give you GPS coordinates, patron-only trips with yours truly, and a direct way to message me and talk anything Jeep and overlanding. Thanks again for watching. See you on the next one.